For thousands of years, the Balkans have been a crossroads of civilizations. Empires rose and fell here, migrations swept through, and languages changed. Yet deep beneath the surface, one question has remained unsolved. Who truly carries the blood of the Illyrians? The Illyrians once ruled vast territories along the Adriatic coast, stretching from modern-day Albania and Montenegro to Bosnia, Croatia, and even parts of Serbia. They were among the earliest peoples to form complex societies in the region, long before the rise of Rome. But as the centuries passed, their names slowly faded. Roman conquest absorbed their tribes, Christianity reshaped their identity, and later waves of Slavs and other groups blurred their trace even further. For a long time, historians believed the Illyrians simply disappeared, wiped out, assimilated, or replaced. But modern science has reopened the case. Through archaeology, linguistics, and especially DNA research, the idea of complete disappearance has been challenged. Instead of being erased, the Illyrians might have quietly endured, their blood mixing with each new wave of settlers, their legacy hidden in the genes of those who live in the Balkans today. This mystery isn't just scientific, it's emotional, even political. Because if the Illyrians still live on genetically, who can truly claim to be their descendants? Albanians, Croats, Bosnians, Montenegrins? Or are they all pieces of the same ancient puzzle? In the last 2 decades, scientists have begun uncovering the genetic story of the Balkans with unprecedented clarity. Ancient DNA samples taken from Illyrian-era burials across Croatia, Bosnia, Montenegro, and Albania have been compared to the genomes of modern Balkan populations, and what they found surprised even the experts. Despite countless invasions and migrations, Celts, Romans, Goths, Byzantines, Slavs, Ottomans, the genetic core of the Western Balkans has remained remarkably stable for thousands of years. Studies show a strong continuity between the people who lived in the region during the Bronze and Iron Ages and those who inhabit it today. This means that the Illyrians, or at least their ancestors, form a major part of the genetic foundation of the modern Balkans. In southern Albania and the coastal regions once ruled by Illyrian tribes, genetic links appear strongest. The Y-DNA haplogroups common among modern Albanians, such as EV13, have been traced back to prehistoric Illyrian and Balkan populations. In the Dalmatian and Herzegovinian highlands, the story is similar. The ancient genetic signatures remain dominant, even after centuries of Roman and Slavic presence. But genetics is only part of the picture. Cultural and linguistic shifts over time often hide these biological continuities. When the Slavs migrated south into the Balkans during the 6th and 7th centuries AD, they brought new languages and traditions, yet they didn't entirely replace the people already living there. Instead, they mixed. Over generations, Illyrian descendants gradually adopted Slavic tongues, blending the two heritages into what would become the modern South Slavic peoples. And that's where the controversy begins. Because while the genetic evidence suggests continuity, the question of identity, who can truly claim to be the descendants of the Illyrians, remains open to interpretation. The Illyrians may have vanished from history books as a distinct people, but their legacy didn't disappear. It became a prize. Across the Balkans, modern nations have looked to the Illyrians as a source of pride, a connection to deep antiquity that predates Rome, Greece, or Byzantium. Yet, in doing so, the ancient tribes have become part of a modern identity struggle. For Albanians, the claim is direct and central. The idea that Albanians descend from the Illyrians is more than a theory. It's a pillar of national history. Linguists point to certain words in the Albanian language that appear to trace back to ancient Illyrian roots. Archaeologists highlight continuity between Illyrian settlements and the later Albanian highlands. To many Albanians, this is not a question, but a fact. They are the last direct heirs of Illyria, but other nations have entered the conversation. In Croatia, Bosnia, and Montenegro, the memory of Illyrian tribes like the Dalmatai, Daorsi, and Plere remains alive in place names, legends, and archaeology. Many historians in these regions see the Slavic newcomers as having intermarried with the remaining Illyrian population, meaning modern South Slavs of the Western Balkans are, in part, Illyrian by blood. Then there's the linguistic mystery. The Illyrian language is lost. Only fragments survive in personal names and inscriptions. Without it, no one can trace a direct linguistic line to any modern people. And yet, ancient Roman authors described Illyrian tribes that shared similar customs with early Albanians and other highland peoples of the region. The truth is likely far more complex than any single national narrative. The Balkans have always been a crossroads of peoples, cultures, and empires. Every group that passed through left traces behind, but none completely erased what came before. The Illyrians didn't vanish overnight. They evolved, merged, and lived on under new names, in new nations. But still, the question lingers. If the genetic core of the Balkans is indeed Illyrian, why has the cultural memory of these people faded so completely? The silence of the Illyrians is deceptive. Though their name faded after the Roman conquest, echoes of their existence still ripple through the landscape, language, and even the DNA of the Balkans. Modern genetic research has revealed that people across the region, from northern Albania to the Dalmatian coast and the mountains of Bosnia, share deep ancestral roots going back thousands of years, long before Slavic migrations. These shared genetic markers suggest that the people living in the Balkans today carry the blood of the same ancient populations who once called themselves Illyrians. But DNA only tells part of the story. Culture, memory, and mythology often speak louder than genes. Ancient Illyrian deities like Bindus, Medorus, and Anzotica still whisper through local folklore, reshaped by centuries of Christianization and Slavic myth. Even certain traditional dances, costumes, and rural customs across the Balkans echo descriptions left by Roman authors about the Illyrian tribes. In the mountains, where geography preserves tradition, these remnants feel almost like fossils of an older world, still alive, but buried beneath layers of empire and time. Archaeological findings strengthen this connection. Fortified hilltop settlements, known as Gradina or Grad, are scattered across the Balkans, many continuously inhabited from the Bronze Age through Roman times. The people may have changed languages and religions, but their villages stayed in the same places, their lives still bound to the same mountains and rivers as their ancestors. So, did the Illyrians shape Balkan DNA more than any other people? Almost certainly, yes. They were not erased, they were absorbed, transformed, and reborn in countless ways. The Illyrians didn't leave a single nation behind. They became the foundation for many. Every tribe, every kingdom, every migration that followed built upon their bones. Perhaps the true legacy of the Illyrians is not in one modern flag or people, but in the shared ancestry that quietly binds the Balkans together, a reminder that before borders, before divisions, there was simply Illyria. The story of the Illyrians is not one of disappearance, but of transformation. Their lands became crossroads for empires, yet their essence remained in the people, the bloodlines, and the spirit of the Balkans. Though their name faded from maps, their legacy endures in silence, written deep within the DNA of the region.